Hello everyone, now I'm gonna be telling the story. The title is 8 in the City of Apples. This year's 8 brings an unusual atmosphere. After years of the routine of going back to our hometown in Central Java, our family decided to change direction. Our destination this time is Malang, a cool city in East Java where my uncle lived with his family. It's been almost 5 years since I last set foot there, and even longer since I last experienced the 8 atmosphere in that cool highland. We departed 2 days after the first Eid al-Fitr. The roads were still quite busy with vehicles from the holiday travelers, but the atmosphere inside our car was actually calm. There was no noisy, just the thinking of music from the radio and the occasional rush of wind coming in through the window. I rested my head against the glass, gazing at the rice field that had turned into a sea of green. On a long journey like this, a kind of silent contemplation arises about time, about the people who are no longer with us, and about how cities can call us home not because of their place, but because of the memories left behind. Arriving in Malang in the late afternoon, the air immediately greeted us with its distinctive breeze, not hot, but also not personally cold. My uncle's house is at the foot of the hill, quite far from the city center. That's where we will be staying for 4 days. As soon as we got out of the car, the scent of pine and wet earth wafted through the air. Look a deep breath. It feels like home, even though this place is not my hometown. My uncle's house hasn't changed much since the last time I was here. A wide yard with a small garden containing tomato plants, mustard greens, and pink bougainvillea that grow wild on the side of the fence. From the back terrace, the towering peak of Mount Arjuna can be seen, sometimes shrouded in a thin mist, sometimes standing clear as if challenging anyone who gazes upon it. The first morning in Malang, I woke up before dawn, not because of the alarm, but because of the rooster in the backyard. The air was so cold that it made me reluctant to let go of the blanket, but I forced myself to get up and walk outside. From the porch, I saw thick fog hanging over the ground. The trees were like shadows in a dream, vague and distant. But behind all that, there is tranquility that soothes the heart. I walked along the narrow path to the backyard garden. Dew still clung to the leaf, and the sound of insects was faintly heard. In the distance, the sound of takbir from the village mosque can still be heard, even though the holiday has passed. It feels like an extension of the sacred atmosphere of Eid, not boisterous, no firecrackers or fireworks, just silence and solemnity. That day was filled with eating together with the extended family. Cool Malang dishes like rawon, mendol, and tempe penyet filled the table. I remained mostly silent, enjoying the atmosphere rather than being busy talking. Sometimes, I feel like an observer in this family story, watching the louder, light conversation and even the silence that arises when each person is engrossed in their meal. But that's where the comfort lies. You don't always have to talk to feel close. On the second day, we were invited by uncle to visit his friend's apple orchard in the Batu area. The journey there took us through winding road with views of hills and fields on both sides. I sat in the back seat, enjoying every curve of the road and the silhouettes of pine trees. lined along the slopes. As soon as we arrived, a stretch of apple trees welcomed us. The reddish green fruits hung from the branches, ready to be picked. I was given a small basket and started picking them one by one. The cold earth and the sound of rustling leaves become a pleasant rhythm. My hands and toes are dirty with soil, but my heart is clean, as if returning to a pure childhood. In the middle of the plantation, I sat for a moment on a large rock, watching the sky gradually brighten and eagle flee far above, and I suddenly felt small in the face of the vastness of nature, but not a frightening smallness, rather a comforting smallness, like knowing that I am just a part of something bigger. In the evening, the city of Malang feels alive. We went to the town square just to take a stroll. Colorful lights adorn the park, and children run around chasing soup bubbles. I sat on the park bench while sipping a glass of STMJ from a street side chart. The aroma of ginger and warm milk drives away a night chilled. Around, face full of happiness looks so simple. No luxury, just togetherness. Third day is the quietest yet most touching day. That morning, it drizzled. I took my notebook and walked to the small garden behind the house. Sitting under the guava tree, I began to write not a long story, but reflective note about gratitude, about the meaning of homecoming, about how humans often forget that happiness can be found in the most ordinary things. At noon, the rain subsided and I decided to explore a bit further. I walked along the path that led to a small forest near my uncle's house. Not long after, I found a small stream flowing between the trees. The sound of flowing water, the gentle trickle, seemed to invite me to sit for a moment. I sat by the riverbank, soaking my feet in the flowing cold water. It feels refreshing, rekindling the sense of life that is sometimes neglected. As I sat there, I remembered the childhood moments when summer vacations were spent with friends, without gadgets and the internet. We rode bicycles around the village, explored the forest, and played in the river. At the time, there were no burdens to think about, only fun and freedom. Nostalgia struck as if opening the dusty old page of my life. When dusk arrived, I returned home and spent the evening with my family sharing stories. We sipped warm tea while listening to stories from the past from my uncle and aunt. Some stories were full of laughter, while others were heartwarming, like when my uncle recounted how he started this apple orchard business decades ago with limited capital. I could feel the passion and struggle poured into every word, making me appreciate even more the effort and hard work put in by everyone. The last day in Malang felt like an emotional farewell, although the enthusiasm to return to the daily routine in Jakarta began to creep into my thoughts. I was determined to absorb every remaining second. After enjoying the magnificent sunrise from the hill, I returned home. That morning, the air was still fresh and everything seemed to shine as if welcoming me to explore further. Upon arriving home, I saw that the family was preparing breakfast. My mother and aunt were working together in the kitchen, while my uncle was brewing coffee outside. The aroma of coffee wafted refreshingly and triggered memories of beautiful breakfast from my childhood. I also joined in stirring the cake batter that would be baked. In the midst of the business, we joked with each other, and the warm atmosphere enveloped us as if time had stopped. After breakfast, we agreed to hold a barbecue in the backyard as a special closing event. The children gathered, playing traditional games, while the adults busied themselves cooking meat and vegetables. The sound of laughter and cheerful banter filled the atmosphere with a heartwarming sense of togetherness. I feel grateful because many simple moments like this are often forgotten in the hustle and bustle of the city. As the evening approached, as the sun began to set, we spread out a mat in the yard and gathered together. We shared stories about future plans, postponed dreams, and the excitement that awaits ahead. There is a sense of relief and happiness knowing that there are no boundaries that can separate us, even though physically we will be apart by distance again. Before night falls, we carry out the final tradition of distributing small gifts to the children around as an expression of gratitude on this joyous day. The children run around, their faces beaming as they receive the gift. Seeing their happiness, I feel like looking into my mirror of joy, reflecting back to the child I once was. When night fell, we gathered inside the house while watching the television screen broadcasting a music show. We sang and folded our hands in nostalgic song, our voice united, flowing gently like a harmony that filled the room. At the end of the night, we had family photo session, this time wholeheartedly and without burden, weaving back memories that will never fade. The final moments before departure left a feeling of nostalgia. I bid farewell to each family member. The warm hugs and goodbyes felt deeper than usual. In my embrace, they candlelight love and prayers, as if guiding me to return again. Leaving Malang is not easy, but I know that every ending is a new beginning. On the way home, during the quiet journey, many beautiful moments came back to mind. I closed my eyes for a moment, imagining the sound of the river's roar, the aroma of coffee, and the cheerful laughter that filled my days in Malang. It feels far and near at the same time, reminding me that every journey to a familiar place is part of my journey to understand the meaning of homecoming.